Hello everyone, I'm DJ Mustang. Today we're going to solve a hacked box machine. The machine name is written. It's a Windows box, difficulty is easy, IP address is 10.10.11.108. So let's start. So before we begin, I would like to give you an overview about this box. It's basically a Windows box where the network printed administration panel stores an LDAP credentials, and we're going to fetch those credentials and log it into the limited shell. Once we log it into the limited shell, we're going to enumerate the user, and user found to be a part of privileged group who can modify the services. So we're going to modify the services and append our reverse shell into it. Once we restart the service, we'll get the root shell, something like that. If you have a basic idea about Nmap scan, enumeration, and how to search for the exploits, how to modify the exploits, how to run the exploits, then I would like to recommend this link, because in this link I have mentioned all the steps which are required to get rooted. So let's start with the walkthrough. First we'll run the Nmap. It's Nmap. S is for still scan, SP is for service version, and capital A is for aggressive scan, capital O is for OS version detection, and the IP address 10.10.11.108. So it will take some time, so we have a saved output. We'll quickly check saved output. Stop over here. Okay, so I can see so many ports and services are running on this box, and typically service this 53 domain and 88 Kerberos and the 389 LDAP. This one. These services are typically run on the domain controller. I mean, these are the signs that indicates maybe this is a domain controller. So domain controller is basically a server that responds to authentication requests and verifies the user in the computer network. And one more thing is that it holds the Active Directory key. Okay, so we'll go with the HTTP service, because it's easy to enumerate and easy to access. So we'll quickly go to the browser, HTTP 10.10, not 10, it's 11.108. So I can see hacked box printer admin panel, and I can see options, home, setting, facts, and troubleshooting. So we'll quickly check one by one. Home, settings. I can see a lot of juicy stuff present over here. So basically it's communicating with the printer address. This is the printer address on the port 389, and I can see the password. So we'll quickly inspect this element and try to retrieve the password. But we can say the value is already text. Input type is already text written over here. So basically we have to think differently to get this credentials or get this password. So I can see the server address over here, and it is listed the listening on the port 389, and some credentials are there. So we will do one thing. We will mention our localhost IP address, and we'll start listener on 389, and then we'll update. So maybe we'll get the credentials. So we'll go here. I have config. Our localhost IP address is 10.10.14.5. So first quickly copy this and paste it over here instead of that, and it is listening on the port 389. So we'll start listener. And enter update. Okay, so we got the password over here. So we'll quickly note this. We'll quickly note down this username and password. So we got the password, this one, and username is svc printer. Okay, great. So we have a proper credentials. So we'll check where we can use these credentials. Let's get back to Nmap result. So I can see the port 53, 80, 88, 135. I can see the 445 port where I can use those credentials. I mean, I can verify whether the credentials are valid or not. So for that, we can use SMB client or SMB map. So both are almost similar tool. So you can use any of them. So we're going to use the SMB map. So it's SMB map. H is for host, that is host IP address is 11.108. Then user we know, so it's uswitch, and then pswitch for password, and password in the single quote. Oh, sorry, it's a double quote. Okay, single quote. So always put user ID and password in the single quote or double quote, because it will take it as a whole string. Because in many scenarios when you have special characters or the hyphen kind of thing, I mean, it will not take it as a whole string. There will be a problem. So to avoid all those unnecessary errors, always put it into the single quote or double quote, and it will save your time. So we'll use these credentials over here. Okay, a user SMB session established on 10.10.11.108, and IP, this IP of the remote host, obviously, and there is no disk, shared disk available on this machine. But the point here is we are able to log in with this credentials. So basically, whatever credentials we have, those are the correct or valid credentials. So we will going to use the Evil-Winrm. Let me show you what it is. Evil-Winrm. Just Google the Evil-Winrm. You will get the first link of the GitHub website, and here's a description about the Evil-Winrm. So Evil-Winrm is basically based on the WS management protocol, and it allows hardware and operating system from the different vendors to interoperate. So basically we are running on the Linux, and the box is the Windows. So the cross-platform compatibility, they have created this the protocol, WS management protocol, and this tool is using that protocol. So with the help of this, we can able to take the remote connection of the Windows machine, you can say that. And initially it was running on the WS management protocol, but later on, since the version 2.0, they started using this PowerShell remoting protocol. So to install this tool, there is an instruction given in the read document. You can directly install into your Kali repository, or you can git clone the repository on your Kali machine, and then you can call that file from that particular location. So all the instructions are given in the read document. So I'm mentioning the link in the description. You will get this. You'll get this link from the description. So to start this um, tool, you have to just type evil hyphen winrm and just help. So this tool will start. There are switches with the help of you can take the remote connection of any Windows machine. So for that, obviously you need credentials. So I can see usage is Evil-Winrm, I is for IP, U is a user, and we have a password. So we'll make a command. Oh, sorry, I thought I was on Windows. So we'll quickly copy this. Evil-Winrm, I is an IP 10.10.11.108, and U is an user ID and B is a password. The same switches are there in the Evil-Winrm. So we'll copy this and paste it. Okay, so we got the shell, limited shell of return machine. So we'll quickly check who am I. So it says return SVC printer. So we'll enumerate further. What is this basically? So for enumerating the user, Windows command is net user and a username, that is SVC printer. So username is SVC printer, full name SVC printer, service account for printer, and I can see the local group membership. Into the local group membership, I can see this particular box belongs to server operator group. So we'll quickly search, Google search, what is server operator group. Oh, it is there. So server operator group, will first go with the Microsoft link and not other websites. So there so many information is we'll quickly search what is required. Server operator, account operator, I can see. Okay, server operator. So here's the information about the server operator group. It's a server operator is basically a member in the server operator group can administrate a domain controller, and this only exists on the domain controller. Okay, and one more thing I would like to highlight over here is a binary that this group has a special privileges. This group can change the binaries that are installed on the domain controller. So that means whatever the binaries are installed on this particular box, we can change it. So we'll change the installed binaries and we'll append our reverse shell so that we'll get the reverse access on our local machine. So we'll go back to the shell. One more thing I would like to say, I'll mention all the links in the description, like what is server operator group, what is Evil-Winrm, and where you can find that thing. So I'll mention everything in the description. So as we know that this particular group can change or modify the installed binaries. So to modify the binaries in Windows, there is SC utility. So we're going to use that SC utility. We'll quickly Google search that also. What is SC utility? So SC utility is basically used in Windows operating system to modify the binaries. And if you want a syntax, then just type SC utility Windows. This one. Okay. So you will get all the information about SC utility, how to use this SC utility. Next SC utility is to modify the binaries. So what service will modify? So we're going to modify the VSS service. So VSS is an acronym for volume shadow copy service. What is it? Let me tell you. VSS. Okay. Acronym for VSS is volume shadow copy service, where you can use them to back up your application data without taking the application offline. So basically it's kind of a backup service of the Windows. So this is how the final payload will look like. Basically I'll explain you everything. Basically sc.exe is this sc utility to modify the binaries, install binaries. Configs, which we are going to use to modify the binary. Then VSS is the service, volume shadow service. Then bin path is the basically the specifies the path of the service binary. And after that we're going to start the command prompt. Into the command prompt we're going to will give this switch, C switch, that provides /c, that provides the execute and specified string in the command in the MS-DOS. So basically this will start the PowerShell. Once the command prompt open, it will start the PowerShell. Into the PowerShell it will write this command. The command is IEX new object. So IEX is basically the invoke expression, and then in the new object it will create a new instance of .NET framework or the COM object on the web client. And then after that it's a download string. Is basically it will download the string or download the file from this particular URL. So for that, first of all we have to start Python server on our local machine, and we have to configure our Nishang Shell. So we'll do that first. First we'll go to the so this is the Nishang Shell. As we can see over here, we just have to change the IP address of the local host and the port number. It doesn't matter actually. 55555, 5 times 5, that's it. And the second one is we have to start Python server on the local host. To start the Python server, you just have to type Python 3 -m is for module http dot server. We're going to host on the port 80. So one more change we have to do over here, that is the 14.5. Sorry. Okay, now it is looking good. So we're going to run or execute this payload on the limited shell, and we'll check what is happening. Okay, I can see the changes, service config success. That means the changes has been done basically. Now we have to start and stop the service. There is a command sc.exe start VSS. But before starting this service, we'll start listener on our local host. NLVP 1 2 3 4 5, correct, and we'll start this service. So once the service gets start, it will execute our reverse shell and we'll get the reverse shell on our local machine. So once we start this VSS service, okay, we got the reverse shell over here. OMI anti-authority system. So we have exploited the vulnerabilities and we learned many things about the Windows AD and domain controller from this box. So thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.